a wonderful sort of phrase and distinction that I've never heard before. We've all heard this idea that there's a pull of blood, but I've never thought about it as actually having a push as well. And when we read Man Gone Down, we can feel just almost like on a kinetic, on a visceral level, we can feel him feeling pushed. Is that something you were aware of as you were writing it? Did the writing reveal that to you? Was that an idea that predicated the book? How does that factor into the actual writing of Man Gone Down? Or does it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't write thematically.
Right.
That's something that is cracked open in the burnishing or the polishing or the breakage of your syntax or images, or mine at least. So I don't think I've ever gone to write anything by saying I'm going to write about
exactly. Of course not.
or how it affects. I guess that's in characterization. I guess I've autobiographically always felt that pull and that push, but also being a father now, and one of the things I'm writing about in memoir is I have 3 children, but particularly my oldest, and I have 3 children. I guess what's the term now? They're biracial or something, or multiracial, or they're other. But my oldest is...
They're just great kids.
Sorry?
They're just great kids.
They're great kids. But they take on this kind of spectrum of melanin or lack thereof. And my oldest is the darkest, and he has had the most trouble with negotiating the alleged color line. So he's identified back and forth. And so he's always seemed the most vulnerable to external doctrines or what people call him. So, but he's quite dynamic, and in playing soccer with other boys and going to school with different people, he's always seen people be able to assert a nationality or a race or a class or a religion or a region, but he's never had that core identity. And so we share that, and so I want to protect him, but I also want to release him from my influence, because where that's brought me, or whether it's taken me, is into, I guess, as Guthrie would have sang, out in the wind, or as Dylan would have said, you're part of that collection of hung-up people in the whole wide universe who aren't tethered. And so I want him to push me away, but I also want him to hold on to this inheritance, because he is an inheritor of the West, and he is an inheritor of the civil rights movement and some of the great people, black and white and other, of the centuries of the building of this country. And he is the descendant of slave and slave master and landowner and those who were bused or trained to oblivion from their land reserves. So how do you bring that inheritance without blowing him apart? Right? So sometimes I think he should just cut it off and run, but that would mean pushing away from me.
Right. Great. Thank you, everyone.